Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pepito Live Costa Rica. Welcome, everyone, to this very exciting show we are having today. A lot of people are thinking of moving to Costa Rica. More and more people are writing to us every week. Pepito, we want to move to Costa Rica. How do we buy a house? How do we do this? How do we do that? And a lot of people have questions also on how to buy a car. So that is actually a very good question. One of the reasons why I really enjoy doing this live show for you all is because we could provide you with up-to-date and latest information. So if we would have done this show about a week ago, the discussion we would have had would have been probably completely different. So the advantage of doing this live is that we could provide you up-to-date information. So we have actually, because in talking about getting a vehicle in Costa Rica, a lot of people have had questions in the past on, can I bring my car from the States? Can I bring my car from Canada? And the answer, of course, was yes. But until very recently, actually, until this week, there was a very, very high import tax that would have been applied. That would, of course, discourage a lot of people from bringing their vehicle from abroad or from elsewhere. Now that has totally changed. So before we talk about how to buy a car in Costa Rica today, we're going to be resolving that very important issue right from the get-go at the beginning of the show. And then stick with us, amigos, because if you decide that you're actually going to be buying a car in Costa Rica after, we're going to be explaining to you everything you know, practical tips, how to do it, what to watch for, how to go about, what things to be careful about. And we're also, of course, going to be taking your questions live during the show. So that being said, the first thing we're going to be covering today is going to be this news that actually was announced during the course of last week, because the government of Costa Rica has actually accepted in a second reading or a second debate to pass a new law that actually to stimulate the welcoming of new residents or new immigrants to Costa Rica. And among all of those very interesting policies that the government is actually working on that will become reality in the next couple of months is the possibility to actually import your car to Costa Rica. And actually, we're going to talk more in details about it in just a few minutes. But first of all, I want to let one of the members of the Costa Rican Legislative Assembly make this little announcement here via video. So here we are.
Hemos aprobado en segundo debate el proyecto que pretende la atracción de inversionistas, rentistas y pensionados. Un proyecto que lo que procura es generar reactivación económica en esas zonas aledañas del país que normalmente les cuesta más generar movimiento en el comercio. Pretendemos que personas inversionistas, pensionados y rentistas quieran venir a Costa Rica, comprar su casa, tener propiedades, también comprar vehículos, de manera que vengan a generar movimiento en la economía. Posiblemente también van a emplear personas y de esta manera estaríamos buscando movimiento en el comercio y darle posibilidades de empleo a más personas en lugares donde conseguir empleo cada vez se vuelve más difícil.
So that was Maria Ines. She's one of what we call in Costa Rica, one of the elected members of the Legislative Assembly. In Costa Rica, we call them diputadas or diputados if they are men, talking about this very important announcement, basically saying that you will be able to import up to 2 vehicles in Costa Rica, basically tax-free, this per family. So we've also actually ask some questions about the significance of this new policy and the application of this new policy to Marcela Gurdian, who's a regular guest on our show. She's an immigration expert, an immigration lawyer in Costa Rica, and she is welcoming that news, and this is what she has to say.
It was approved June 23. Now we have to wait for the law to be published. And then once the law is published and signed, we have to wait 60 days. And then we will have like another law to uh, to explain how this new law will be applied. If you want to bring planes, boats, vehicles, also two of each one you can bring, and it's per family. That's something important because I'm getting people are asking me, can I bring two vehicles for my wife and two vehicles for me? No, it's per family, okay? Because the government wants to facilitate your relocation to Costa Rica. They don't want you to do business with these benefits, okay? Mm-hmm.
So that was Marcela Gurdian. That was part of a show we just did a couple of days ago, amigos. If you want to see the total show about all these new changes to residency law in Costa Rica, you could, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you will be able to see the complete interview with Marcela Gurdian, because today we are devoted to the subject of vehicles, but there are very other important reforms in there also. So please, amigos, do not miss that. Now, if we want to look at that from like a customer service and a practical point of view, we also have another experts we want to introduce to you at the beginning of this show, and we are talking here about Pablo Arias. Pablo is the owner of a relocation company in Costa Rica. Pablo, tell us a little bit who you are.
Hello, everybody. Well, basically, I run an international relocation company. We specialize in shipping and household goods, shipping household goods and cars, and we do customs for our customers. And this new law definitely is going to change my job, getting customers left and right asking, can I ship my vehicle now? Are we ready? I don't want to pay taxes. So it's very exciting for everybody. Basically, I do have a few opinions about this law. I think it's going to change the way we do our job in my company. And it's important for people to, my personal advice is to wait until the law is finally implemented. Because at this point, we have a law that has been passed, it's approved. But like Marcela mentioned before, there will be a set of rules that are going to be implemented, and we don't know what are they going to ask. They might ask for different things. They want to have proof of that you're actually moving into Costa Rica. They want to have a few different things, and it's different for every law. Exonerations are in place for many different reasons, but this is a new exoneration, and we don't know exactly what are they going to ask. Now, I have customers that they already have their vehicle on their way, and I also have customers that they have their vehicle already in Costa Rica and are waiting to do customs. So they're kind of like, okay, can I get this new benefit now? And not yet. So you have to wait. But here's a little advice. Maybe people, if you are in this situation that you have your vehicle kind of waiting at the customs terminal, you can probably get your vehicle under a tourist permit for 90 days. Mm-hmm. They give you 90 days kind of wait until the law gets implemented, and then after that you return the vehicle to the customs terminal, and then you can do customs and hopefully waive the entire amount of the import taxes.
Mm-hmm. So Pablo, how many people do you think this is pretty much basically going to be affecting? Is there actually a lot of expats who have in the past, or a lot of expats wanting to actually bring their vehicles from abroad, from Canada, the States, or Europe even?
I'll say almost every person that I interview to bring into Costa Rica asks me, what is it that I need to do to bring or import my car? There are a lot of questions. The customs process really raises a lot of questions. So I always go into detail, what is it that you need to do? What is it that you have to, provide as documents to import your car? So I'll say there are going to be a lot of people asking for this benefit.
Okay.
I cannot tell you a number, but I mean, I import about 15 15 containers a month, and at least half of those have cars.
So, like about a month ago, I did this equivalent show actually in French, and I had done some calculations at the time. I was doing like just a sort of like a study on a study case, if I could say, of a vehicle of about $15,000, and I think the import taxes and everything like included would have equaled something like $5,000 somewhere around there, and so that will be actually a big saving for people to actually import their car tax-free in Costa Rica. And so that will make a difference on whether or not they're going to buy a car in Costa Rica or import their actual car. But now they're still going to be, of course, you're not going to be working for free. And so how much typically, now I don't want to put you on the spot. I know it depends on a lot of factors. I know you're going to tell me that, but what kind of cost? Now, if I decide, okay, now finally with this new reform, this is going to be sort of like a stimulus for a lot of people. Basically, a range of how much to how much could it typically cost to bring a car into Costa Rica, whether or not I'm from Canada or the western coast of the United States, or, for example, the eastern coast, Miami area, for example.
Okay. Once again, there are many different ways of doing this, and some services out there only offer freight. Some other services offer pick up the vehicle at your house, insurance, then make the delivery to your new house in Guanacaste. It could be a big range of different services depending on what you're asking for. But in general, I'm just going to give you in general what we see from Miami, or from, let's say, Tampa. Which there are two ports that people can ship vehicles, and it's not as expensive. You can see shipments for around $1,100, $1,200, and just talking about freight, ocean freight. And then on top of that, there's other expenses, customs clearance, doing the legal paperwork to show to customs that this vehicle is in good shape and all the things. So I'll say about $1,800 to $2,000 by the time you finish with all this paperwork. And this is just shipping, customs clearance, and making the delivery within San Jose. And then if the vehicle needs to be delivered in Guanacaste, it will be a little extra. Okay. Now, if you are in California, if you are like really far away from one of these good ports, I call these good ports because most of the traffic for automobiles that coming into from the US to Costa Rica, it's either in Florida, like in Tampa or Miami. There is a lot of traffic, so it's less expensive. But if you, let's say you're in California, it will be probably $3,500 to ship a vehicle, or you may have to have your own container, which you can use that and put your house of goods on your car. But if you're looking, it's a little bit more expensive on this other side. The same thing with Canada. If you're shipping from Canada, you may have to have your own container. So on those cases, I would advise to use it for the car and also ship some household goods so you can take advantage of the shipment.
Perfect. Okay, so that gives us sort of like a ballpark to sort of like what to look into. I do have a question here from someone who says, Eva Rasset says, Salut Pepito, can I import resale into Costa Rica? And it was very important that this new law is for personal use. So if some people out there are thinking of started a business out of importing cars, and that they're going to have these cars imported tax-free into Costa Rica, you're going to get it wrong, because Marcela Gurdian was actually very, very clear about that. These are vehicles for personal use. Could be a vehicle, it could be a truck, it could be a boat, it could be a plane, right?
Basically, you can bring any way of transportation. But
that's right.
If I want to answer this question this way, you can do it, but you're going to have to pay import taxes. And
yes.
there are people this is what they do for a living. They own dealerships. They bring vehicles. You need to know that you have to bring the vehicle from a place like Tampa, where the cost of shipping is less. But that's you're going to have to pay taxes for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then Mr. Lasset says, I know, let's set it personal, but after a year, can I resell? Okay, very good question, Eve. Those are going to be stipulations that are going to be in the law. So those are the fine details. I've actually asked that question to Marcela, and how much time will I be able to sell? I don't think it's going to be in a very short period of time, maybe a year or so. I have no idea. So those are all details that are actually going to be unfolding in the next couple of months. Amigos, we're going to keep everybody abreast and posted and updated on all of those details. It's not the last show we're actually going to be doing on this very important question. So, in a nutshell, Yves, la réponse, on l'a pas encore. It's going to come in the fine print very, very soon. So, Pablo, is there anything you want to say before I let you go? So, you're welcoming this news?
I'm really happy to. I know we're going to get a lot more busy. We are very busy. In the last 6 months, we've been getting at least twice as much business. But now with this new law, I'm anticipating I'm going to get double now for this. So I'm really happy to. But I know I wanna set the expectations right for my customers and for everybody. I know there is a new set of rules that need to be implemented, and we need to really watch out for those rules before you decided to ship your vehicle. So you know all the facts before you make this investment.
Absolutely. So keep posted. So if people want to contact you for your excellent service, Pablo, International Relocation Partner.com is your website. And you're very accessible. You're the expert. You're the reference in Costa Rica. So you're the person to call. So Pablo, thank you, amigo, for joining us on the show. And thank you for your very precious comments.
Thank you.
Okay. Con mucho gusto. Hasta luego.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So that was our friend Pablo, Arias, who was talking to us today about some of these elements, very practical elements in terms of actually bringing your car into Costa Rica. So the objective of the show is to talk about buying a car in Costa Rica. So amigos, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some very important bullet points on things to think and things to do or things not to do if you are thinking of buying a car in Costa Rica. So some of those things may sound pretty just basic for a lot of people, but nonetheless still very, very important. So amigos, if we want to buy a car in Costa Rica, of course, we need money. So one of the points is, people have been asking questions about how to get financing in Costa Rica. This question also comes up very often in terms of buying a house or buying a vehicle here in Costa Rica. And in a nutshell, amigos, I'm going to very quickly go over these points, but in a nutshell, if you're not a permanent resident of Costa Rica, if you've not been established here for some time, it will be pretty much practically impossible, for you to get some financing in Costa Rica, whether it's for a car or whether it's even for a house, Now, there are some private financing available across Costa Rica, but that's a whole different story. So, in a nutshell, amigos, if you want to buy a vehicle in Costa Rica, you have to make sure that you have the cash available to you. So that's the point number one. So I want to get that out of the way immediately. And now people say, well, how can I find a vehicle now in Costa Rica? And there's different ways of doing it. And so we're going to be talking about some of those points. And actually, of course, for example, if you're living in Guanacaste, you're going to see a lot of vehicles for sale with, for sale signs on them and stuff like that. But actually, one of my preferred way of buying a vehicle in Costa Rica is actually through a website. And this website is actually called Costa Rica Autos.com. So in my perspective, this is the best online sales service around Costa Rica. And the reason why I like it is that because it has an excellent search engine to it. And for example, you could put the type of vehicle you want, the type of year you want, the type of budget you have, the number of doors you want, the number of wheels you want on your car. I'm just joking here, but and that will tell you what's available there on the market. That covers the entire aspect of Costa Rica. Talking about the entire country, just a little tip. Usually buying a vehicle, we will encourage people to sort of look more towards the Central Valley and look more out of Guanacaste. For example, if you're in Guanacaste, why? Because very simply, amigos, the vehicles in Guanacaste or some of the rural areas of Costa Rica have a little bit more abuse, So try to look a little bit more out of those secluded areas of Costa Rica. Another very important way is to go through the leaders, the dealers. So one of the major dealers in Costa Rica for specific brands of vehicle is Grupo Q. Okay, and so it's very easy to find which one of those dealers are. So you could buy a used vehicle in Costa Rica, and of course you could buy a new vehicle in Costa Rica. Newer vehicles in Costa Rica, you could, expect to pay more than you would typically pay, of course, in Canada or even in the States. So you could expect to pay anywhere between 20 to 30% more. Okay, Costa Rica is a very small country. So compared to Mexico or other countries, so the economic purchasing power of Costa Rica is a little bit more challenging. So some of the imported goods in Costa Rica, of course, are more expensive. So you could expect to pay more for a brand new vehicle in Costa Rica as opposed to buying the same vehicles in Canada or in the States. One of the things I recommend to people is to actually shop around for the most popular models. Now, we have pretty much every type of model of cars now in Costa Rica, but I think the most popular models, in my perspective, are Toyota, Hyundai, Nissan, especially if you're looking more into the used market. And I'm going to tell you why I'm recommending that is because getting some used parts in Costa Rica for certain types of big vehicle could actually be pretty challenging, where you could be talking about not only a few days, you could be talking weeks, several weeks. And the advantage of these brands of vehicle, I mean, I own a tour company, and I've always talked to Toyota and Hyundai products. And one of the advantages of those brands is that they're very well known in Costa Rica. A lot of the used car talleres are shops in Costa Rica. They know those vehicles. They know how to fix them. They're familiar with them. It makes a whole difference as opposed to North American brands. Okay, so try to stick. You could do like in the search engines. You could actually in Costa Rica Autos. You could have sort of like a look at the inventory of vehicles, and so try to stick with those brands. There are other ones also. I'm not paid by Toyota or Hyundai or Nissan to say that, but amigos, try to stick with the major brands. That could resolve in a lot of hardship. I knew somebody who absolutely always had a Ford car when he was in North America. Wanted a Ford car. At one point, one of the pieces broke, and we were talking about weeks before he would actually was able to actually get the piece that he actually needed. Another great way, amigos, is there's actually, there's places where you could buy cars in Costa Rica everywhere, but there's one particular city or town in Costa Rica that's in the Central Valley of Costa Rica that's called Grecia. And Grecia, actually, I would call it the capital of cars or used cars in Costa Rica. And I have here, this is like Auto Bamboo. Once again, this is not a paid announcement. When you're driving through Grecia, okay, you could go take a trip. Driving through Grecia, you're going to see, like, amigos, a ton of these dealers who are actually specialized in used cars. Okay, you will see a ton of them. So Grecia, it's worth the drive. My personal opinion, I usually say things based on my experience in the past. I find that usually the used car dealerships in Grecia, I thought their prices were a little bit high. I may be mistaken. Don't sue me for saying that, Grecia people, but I think, in my opinion, it was a little bit more expensive. I want to also show you here the interface of the Costa Rica Autos website. Okay, just so you're familiar with it. So it's crautos.com. And as you can see, new cars in there, used cars in there. And there's a very, very good search engine in there also. To me, actually, it's probably the best way Pretty much every vehicle I've purchased, every vehicle, I'm in business. I run a tour company. I buy a lot of vehicles, and I think every vehicle I bought in Costa Rica so far, I've bought through that website, and I've absolutely never been disappointed. So now we've spoken on how to buy the vehicle or where to look. There's some good deals around also. Like I said, if you're buying a vehicle, in more like of a remote area, be a little bit more cautious for the mechanical condition of the vehicle. Okay, now. One of the things, okay, and we're talking about like, mechanics is, get a good vehicle inspection, okay, and bring the vehicle to, a mechanical shop of your choice, okay, not the seller's best friend, okay, of course. And so make sure you do that. Also, one of the things that I recommend to people, if you're going to be buying a vehicle, okay, I'm going to get my papers out here right now. They're right over here. Actually, one of the things you need to do is, one of the things you can do is you could ask the seller to provide you with a list of what we call the RITEVE. The RITEVE is the annual inspection or biannual inspection of the vehicle for public safety in Costa Rica, okay? So we call it the annual inspection, the RITEVE, and actually they're going to be providing you with like a report, okay? So each vehicle has its report. You could ask for those papers. You could ask for that history, and that will give you some good indication in terms of what is the history of the vehicle, and also in terms of if there's anything, okay, that needs to be looked at. Okay, this is a very, very small practical tip. And for some of those people who want to have an idea what a RITEVE is like, we do have a little video to share with you so you'll know what it is involved. The RITEVE system in Costa Rica actually works very well. So here's a little idea what a RITEVE is. There you go, amigos. So that was sort of like a good overview of what a RITEVE actually involves in Costa Rica. So that is very, very, very important. Okay, get that mechanical inspection, okay, done. Alors, faites certain d'avoir votre inspection mécanique bien faite, les amis. Alors, je sais qu'il y a des francophones qui regardent. So now, another element is that, okay, for example, you found your vehicle. This is your dream vehicle. You just moved to Costa Rica, pura vida, okay? Now, of course, you're going to be buying a vehicle. Amigos, buying a vehicle in Costa Rica is not like in Canada. It's not like in the States where I know, like for us in Canada, you just basically take the ownerships, take the little paper, sign it off, okay? Pay your check or give your check or pay your money or whatever, certified money order, whatever way you do it, okay? And boom, you go to the Ministry of Transportation office and you've got a vehicle. Pura vida, very simple. In Costa Rica, amigos, it's a little bit different, okay? We like to do things a little bit differently here in Costa Rica. this is one example of one contract in Costa Rica. Okay, so I know the lighting's not very good here. Okay, several papers here. Okay, so okay, like buying a vehicle in Costa Rica is almost like buying a house in Canada, I swear to God. But nonetheless, so you need to have a trustworthy lawyer, okay? So make sure, okay, you have somebody who's going to be doing things properly for you and going to be checking several things to protect you, okay? So that is very important. Check those references. Talk to people around you. Talk to people who've have been, here for some time and they know the trustworthy people. That's very, very important. Okay, I stress that. Now, I'm going to put the link here just to conclude on the Retavy and stuff. This is, okay, on the website. And unfortunately, amigos, this is in English. Okay, it's rtv.co.cr, obtener cita, which means get an appointment. So you could get the appointments for those vehicles actually online. Okay, so that is very, very important. Now, amigos, once you have the best lawyer, amigos, and also if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to do so. We do have a comment that came in from Francine Gregoire. You always have good information. Thanks, Pepito. Thank you for watching, Francine. And well, we have one of our friends here, Dean, who's actually a big hockey fan. So thank you, Dean, for your spirit of hockey, and see you soon, amigos. Now, so you have got that. So now you have your attorney, okay, lined up. And then one of the things you want to make sure is that he will actually look into any liens or charges that are maybe pending on the car. Okay, I did buy a vehicle one time, and there was a $5,000 loan outstanding on the vehicle, and I've actually went with my lawyer and with the person selling me the car directly to the bank and actually processed the final payment of the vehicle myself and requested the receipt to do so. So that is very, very important. So you got to make sure that your attorney will actually look into that. Anything outstanding, okay, gravamenes, charges, and liens on the vehicle, that needs to be looked into in Costa Rica also, okay, amigo? Then let's talk a little bit quickly about insurances. Now, in Costa Rica, we have the National Institute of the Insurance. We call it INS, and that's the national insurance. Okay, INS, okay, /costarica.com. That is widespread. It's a cadena de seguro a través de todo Costa Rica, across all across the country. That is very, very popular here in Costa Rica. Also, personally, I deal mostly with one of their competitor, which is more of a private enterprise. It's called Calitas.co.cr. Okay, so that's Calitas Insurance in Costa Rica. They're also available across Costa Rica. They have competing rates with the INS, and I think, even in my opinion, probably at times even better quality service. Okay. Now, another very important point. Amigos, don't be shy if you have any questions. Don't be shy. So feel free, make comments, ask questions. Now is the time to do so. Now, people negotiating a purchase agreement. Now, I've had some experiences with this, and I think purchasing things in Costa Rica is not quite exactly the same culture that it is in North America. That's my experience with negotiation. For example, in Canada, if somebody wants selling a car, they're asking $15,000 for it. You're going to offer $10,000, and you're going to meet in the middle for $12,500. In Costa Rica, the experience I've had with some of the local people is that if you sort of offer a price that's ridiculously low in a perspective to negotiate, you're gonna be in some ways insulting them, and maybe even hurting their feelings. It's sort of like in the culture here, from my experience, a way to say, like, what you're selling me is no good, and that's all it's worth. So usually I found that with all the vehicles I bought, the negotiation range was not very high. So maybe a couple of $100s, but not really no more than that. So you got to be sensitive to that. So usually the asking price is pretty much close to the asking price. Okay. Now, another very important thing with your lawyer, you got to make sure to check, the vehicle identification number. That is also very important. So the vehicle identification number, that is definitely something that's it's very, very, very important. Now, amigos, when you're shopping around for your car, okay, this looks very basic, but nonetheless very, very important, okay? There was a few scams in Costa Rica a couple of years back, and people have had unfortunately, some bad experiences. So we got to say it as it is. Okay, security tip, okay? Meet sellers, meet people in safe places, in public places, okay? Where, okay, you're going to feel safe, okay? So don't meet people in remote areas, so be cautious and to that, okay? And also, don't carry, okay, a huge amount of cash with you. Deal through the banks, deal through your lawyer. Don't go buy a car, okay, or having a big deposit on a car in cash when you're meeting someone in a remote area, okay? And that covers that point also. Says do not give money until the deal is legitimate, and do it the proper way. Okay, I see there's a comment and some questions. And Francine here says, is it something, okay, with the golf carts? Actually, for any vehicle. Okay, so this process of buying a vehicle is pretty much with everything that's motorized. So car, truck, a golf cart, motorcycle. You have to go pretty much through this entire process. I hope that answers your question. So, amigos, be careful. Public places, deal with your lawyer, okay? And now, one of the things very, very, very important, okay? We have in Costa Rica, okay, what we call the Registro Nacional. Registro Nacional, that's the National Registry Office. Okay, so everything that you own in Costa Rica of value, a house, a car, okay, will be registered there. Okay, so your lawyer will also verify that the seller of the vehicle is actually the legitimate seller of the vehicle, but that's also very, very important. Also, I put that there because, like, after you've actually purchased the vehicle, okay, after some time, the registration of your deal is going to be done at the registry office. But there's been some cases in the past where the lawyers fell asleep, okay, and the registration was never done. And then you'll wake up the next year wanting to go and renew your plates or something, and they're going to say, no, the vehicle's not registered to your name yet. Perdóneme, okay, sorry. So you have to make sure, okay? So I don't know if you can see it. This is the registration form from Registro Nacional, okay? That needs to be completed, okay? So all of this paperwork, amigos, very, very, very important. So you have to make sure that you follow up on that, okay? Make sure that your lawyer actually does that, okay? So those are pretty much practical tips into buying a vehicle in Costa Rica. Also, I'm going to show a couple of pictures here. Is that what's very important also in Costa Rica, okay? Because when you actually do what we call the merchamo. The merchamo are the annual taxes in Costa Rica, and the basic third liability insurance that actually is included there. That's mandatory by law in Costa Rica, okay? So you will actually be getting some stickers like this, that when you see actually like vehicles in Costa Rica, you see all kind of colored stickers in there. So that's what it is. That means that your reteve is up to date, and also which is the mechanical inspection up to date, and also means that your plates are paid and up to date also. So that is what we call the marchamo. These stickers here are very, very important in Costa Rica. Now, what happens in Costa Rica, very often is that you're going to see like driving around the country, you're going to see some checkup points like this. And usually what the police are looking for is a visual indication whether or not your car is legal or not. And they will know immediately by the color of your sticker. Now, in Costa Rica, if you actually break the law, you're going to get a multa. Multa is a fine. You don't want to get a multa, and you don't want to be caught breaking the law in Costa Rica, because they're going to give you a fine. And also, very often they're going to take your plates off. They're going to take your plates off your vehicle in Costa Rica. Now, some people say, you know what, there's nothing to it. You go back to the ministry's office and you're going to get your plates back. Well, amigos, you know what? It could take some time. So you could be left without a vehicle. You have to pay some fees. You have to pay the charges. You have to make an appointment. You got to wait in line, and then you got to go. And you know what? It could take you like several weeks to get your car back, because then they got to find your plates also. So you got to be careful with that. I have here the interface of the Registro Nacional I was talking about just a few minutes ago, just so you have an idea what it looks like. There's a lot of information in there in Costa Rica. The Registro Nacional is probably one of your best friends in Costa Rica. This is also the website for the INS insurance company, so you have an idea what it looks like. It says Grupo INS. So if you're looking online, then you'll know exactly what you are looking at. So in a nutshell, those are pretty much the points to look at. You do all of that. It takes a little bit of time, but make sure you do it properly. Ask the proper questions. Get a proper lawyer. Make sure all of those things are up to date on the vehicle, because amigos, if you buy a vehicle and the marchamo is not up to date, the plates are not up to date, you're going to have to pay them. If the reteve is not up to date, you're going to have to pay them. Now, some people will also ask questions in terms of how much would it cost to buy a vehicle in Costa Rica. So there's a wide variety of prices. You could get cars here you could get actually pretty good cars here for even like $5,000 in Costa Rica. You could get a nice little Suzuki car or some kind of car like that. But just to give you sort of like, a little bit of an idea on what the closing costs would be, you could look pretty much at around 5.5%. So taxes and transfer fees, 2.5%. Stamps should be about 1%. Now, when I'm talking stamps here, I'm talking stamps that is a government certification, sort of like a seal of the government of Costa Rica. It's not a stamp to send the contract by the mail or something like that. And then the legal fees should be not very much more than 2%. Now, this 5.5% applies to the book value. So even if your best friend decides he's going to sell you a $10,000 car for $1,000, guess what? If at the book value it says $10,000 or $11,000 or $12,000, you're going to pay those fees on the amount that's actually indicated in the books. So now we do have a question here. If you have your plates removed by the policia and don't pick up after 3 months, they will destroy, and you need to wait for make new ones, exact same number. Yeah, then you know what? You need to go to San Jose, and it becomes a very complex issue. I mean, if you have your plates removed, amigos, act very quickly. The more delays there are in Costa Rica, the more complicated it becomes. And if you get your plates, removed from your car, it could take some while, and you may not, you may not be able to recuperate them, which means that you're going to need to apply for some new plates, and that's a whole different process. You don't want to get involved in that. So, in a nutshell, that's pretty much basically it. I'm not going to drag this subject too long. In closing, I just want to, maybe go over just a couple practical tips in terms of driving in Costa Rica. What I want to, a few driving tips, okay? Because this is a different country, okay? Now, one of the things in Costa Rica people sometimes are not familiar with. I'm gonna do a whole show on driving in Costa Rica pretty soon. But this one here is Sera el Paso, okay? So that is giving the right of way. That's what that means, okay? So it means that you have to give the right of way. Look at this beautiful sunset right now, what's just shining in my face, Costa Rica. And so Sera el Paso, just to put this a little bit in perspective here's a picture, okay? This is what it looks like. Very often in Costa Rica, we have very, very narrow bridges, okay, or intersections, and you have to give the right of way. So, okay, so the one that has the sign Sera el Paso needs to wait for the incoming vehicle to go through. So that is very, very important. So if you don't know what Sera el Paso means, now you know. So you let the other side come by. The other side, if you have no sign, it means that no indication, it means that you could actually go through. Okay, it won't say that you have the right of way. It will only tell you if you don't have the right of way. Okay, another very important thing in terms of driving into Costa Rica, I tell people, amigos, avoid night driving if needed. Okay, because in Costa Rica, lighting on certain roads is not very good at night. If you're not familiar with the area, be sensitive to that, because on the roads in Costa Rica at night, there's actually a lot of cars that don't have their reteve. Some vehicles don't even have lighting. Some of them don't have reflectors. There are people biking in Costa Rica that don't have reflectors. There are people walking in the streets. And also there are a ton of animals, okay? Costa Rica is known for its animal, but also for its farmland. So a lot of vehicles actually just wandering, okay, on the streets at night. The last thing you want to do is hit, a group of cows. Okay, so that's very, very important. So these, in my opinions, are the most important hazards while driving, okay, in Costa Rica. The last one I think is also very, very important is be on the lookout for motorcycles. Motorcycles in Costa Rica have a way of coming to you from different ways or different angles. I'm choking here, so I'm just going to take a glass of water. Motorcycles, you have to be careful, especially in the bigger cities, because they may actually come to you by the right side. Actually, most of the people who actually die from traffic accidents in Costa Rica are, I think 70% are people actually on motorcycles. Okay, so here's a fine example of it. You don't know where this guy's going to be going next, okay? And this may actually happen, okay? So that's the leading cause of death in traffic accidents in Costa Rica are actually motorcycles. So be cautious to that. I hope the tips we provided you, amigos, today were very useful. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed the good news about the new import tax being abolished for vehicles coming to Costa Rica. I hope you enjoyed the practical tips in terms of the different steps you need to do. If you have any questions, by all means, write to me personally. And I hope these practical driving tips have been useful to you also. So, amigos, see you next time on Pepito Live Costa Rica. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Pepito Live Costa Rica. Hasta luego y pura vida, amigos.